Very dark, very twisted, and we're going to talk about it. What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Enter the Cinevault. For today, I was recently able to catch Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare in theaters last week during its short theater run, and I do have to say I was pretty happy with it leaving the theater. I went in with low expectations and really not expecting much, and was kind of surprised about what we got. And then leaving the theater, it kind of made me think back to what's been going on with this universe so far. What have we gotten? What can we expect in the future? And kind of where did this even start and where is it all coming from? I just kind of want to go over all this stuff that we see here on the screen. So coming from Jagged Edge Productions, I believe they're a UK-based independent kind of like small production company. And they've been taking these childhood characters, kind of IPs that are entering the public domain and turning them into like these twisted childhood tales, horror movies that we've been getting, starting with Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. I just kind of wanted to dive into this universe a little bit, go over what's going on with it, kind of give my thoughts and a bit of a review on Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. Let's start right away here with Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. This was the first one that came out. Very kind of silly and goofy, campy. I went into it really not expecting much of anything. My theater had a blast with it. They were laughing the whole time. And I think everyone left pretty happy just knowing how ridiculous it actually was and what to expect. We get to Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey Part 2, and then you see a shift change. You see the production budget went up, the quality went up, and then they took a darker, more serious tone and kind of explained more with some backstories and things that were going on in the sequel to Blood and Honey. So I think it kind of went in more of a positive direction once they got to that sequel. Next up, we got Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. Very dark, very twisted, and we're going to talk about it. After Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, we are supposed to be getting Bambi the Reckoning. So there is a trailer out for Bambi the Reckoning. Pretty sure you can pull that up on YouTube. I've seen it play twice in front of these other movies that I've seen in the theater. So Bambi the Reckoning kind of looks on par with the rest of these so far. Moving on from there, we are supposed to get Pinocchio Unstrung. So that I really don't know much about yet. I'm sure marketing and articles and things will come out about Pinocchio closer to when it's going to release. And all of this is going to lead up to Pooniverse Monsters Assemble, which is going to be an assembly film based on all of these characters that we see kind of introduced throughout this whole universe as these movies release. So there's a bit of a quick kind of background about what's going on with this twisted childhood universe. I have to say I am kind of invested in it at this point. I've seen the first two Blood and Honeys. I just saw Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, and I will be checking out, the rest of these as they come out. Let's get into Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. What did I think? Like I said, leaving the theater, I was overall happy with what we got. I went in with low expectations, really not knowing what to expect. I figured it would be along the lines of Blood and Honey 1 and 2, but this takes a much darker and serious tone. I do have to say I was very, very surprised by kind of like the lines that they toe. So this was really dark and a lot more serious than Blood and Honey 1 and 2, and they even introduced some really dark themes in, which I was not ready for, not expecting. So there were some obvious nods to other horror movies and slashers, and this definitely takes on more of a traditional slasher feel. Peter Pan is basically a child abductor and a child murderer. And the beginning has what seems like a scene pulled right out of It Chapter 1. There's a scene where he's kind of taunting a child. He's underneath of a floor. And it's very reminiscent of that scene of Pennywise in the sewer trying to lure the child kind of down into his realm. And it also kind of reminded me of Evil Dead with the Deadite being in the floor. Peter kind of sets traps for his victims in this movie, and he kind of lures them to a van that he's driving around because he is a circus performer. We see that right in the beginning. And it's very reminiscent of the Black Phone. There's no holding back on the gore. Everything looked like it was practical effects. Very gory, very realistic, and I didn't really notice kind of any CGI. Everything looked like it was done practically, so thumbs up to those guys for that. Then we have Pixie Dust. Pixie dust is basically a stand-in for heroin. So take that for what it is. We do eventually meet Tinkerbell. She has a tie-in to earlier in the movie and is being held captive in kind of Peter's remote house location that he's been taking these victims to. She has a very dark kind of character background to her as well. Captain Hook has a brief appearance at the end of the movie, but again, just like Tinkerbell, he's been held captive for who knows how long in the basement of Peter's house. And then we have Neverland. Neverland is basically a metaphor for death. There's a couple times throughout the movie where Peter kind of really lures these kids by asking them if they want to get to Neverland. And then eventually later in the movie, he actually describes how he gets people to go to Neverland. So overall, this was a really dark and serious take on the Peter Pan tale. And I have to say, this is probably the darkest of the three movies that have come out so far. And if this is the direction that they plan on going, I can see Bambi the Reckoning, Pinocchio Unstrung, and the whole Pooniverse movie going a lot darker than what we've gotten already. So I'm very interested to see where these movies go and what we can expect. So there you have it. There's my thoughts on Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare and a little bit of a background on what this Twisted Child universe actually is and what direction it's kind of going. There's my thoughts on the Twisted Childhood universe and a little bit of a review on Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you guys think. Do you love this universe? Do you hate this universe? Do you not care at all? Leave a comment down below. Let's talk about it. Thanks for checking this video out once again, and don't forget, watch more movies.